Hey. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, or good morning, depending on where in the world you are currently watching the show.
You don't know what time of day it is.
We never know what time or day
As
it
if I
is,
ever do.
apart from it being a Wednesday. That's the only thing that keeps us thing. But which Wednesday? Who
This
knows? This particular one. Okay. Yes. Hello. This Wednesday. We hope you enjoyed the last episode about using different sizing equipment. Yeah, we got a lot of fantastic comments.
We did, and I think that's something that we've come on to today.
Yeah,
because we had questions, and you know what? I love questions.
I do too,
especially when we've got the answers.
So. Let me just get rid of that.
So after last week's show, we did a lot about inflation equipment, which, you know, as you guys know, we love our tech. We love our gadgets.
We do.
So we did that, and we did touch a little bit on sizing, but we were focusing on the machine.
Yes, but we have had some comments regarding the size and what we prefer using, because there's all the different equipment. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to run through different ways of sizing. Processes that we've used that we use in our business currently, and things that we've done in the past, and how we get around as well. So actually, if you put in the chat how you prefer to size with and what equipment you like to size with as well, we'd love to hear from you guys.
And a robot, maybe.
I think in the chat,
because I haven't seen enough robots in the chat.
yes, exactly.
Get them in the chat. I want to see it.
Emojis,
all right.
if you,
I mean, I can't see it properly anyway because my eyes are going. However, I can see it afterwards, and that's what counts.
It is nice to see so many people from all around the world as usual. It's very exciting. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, so we did touch on it. We wasn't our plan.
We're also going to try to stick to time today. After last time's show was our half-hour show ended up being an hour.
I should have called it Time Matters.
Yes, well, it does at times, but not to spend it with you guys.
This is important, yes. So we touched on it, and we thought this was the ideal time to come back to it straight away while it's fresh in everyone's mind.
While the iron is hot.
Because it was some very valid questions about, you know, because it links directly to that equipment. It really does.
It is.
So that's the inflation. But we want to and need to create a sized balloon. Unless we're doing organics, although some of these methods can be used to help steer the range that we want to do, so we can still use a similar sort of equipment.
And also as well as if you're doing organics and you're using formula-based organic structures as well, it's still really you still need to know what size you want.
Also recipe driven, as in we've got a crew making something. We normally specify we need, you know, X amount of balloons this size, X amount this size, X amount this size. Then when they've been applied into the design, the randomness and being pulled in will help make them look different.
So what we're going to start with first is our good old hand inflator, the Qualitex hand inflator, which has gone through a few different shapes and sizes over the years.
I do miss the purple one. I did like that one.
Yeah, because you like the purple one rather than the lime green.
Although we did get that one random orange one from Japan.
Yes.
But this one's the one with AR technology.
Yeah, and the anti-roll technology is the AR technology. It's these little bumps that are across there which prevents it from rolling.
It's such a simple addition, but you know what? When you put your pump down, you expect it to be there where you left it.
Yes,
and that's what the
it
AR
has,
does.
and it has it's slightly widened on the side as well, so it has like an oval feel to it. So it basically, although you can't really see it on there because the screen's looking at the screen, but you can see there it stops rolling pretty quickly as it doesn't just keep going forever, which the old ones which were completely cynical
You
would
put it
just
down
go,
and it's gone.
yes, this one doesn't.
Hey ho.
What we do,
Easy
anybody
peasy.
that's been on a training course with us know that we use these two size as it's the basic version of the precision aero twin air sizer in the fact that we do it on stroke counts, always starting down at the bottom and going, that's one. And then when you're doing the next one, down here at the bottom, and if you want 2 strokes, it's 1, 2. It's not 1 or 1. It's every time you move it, you do a full extension. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the count.
Also, very specifically, we're using the Qualitex hand inflator.
Yes.
This is a 2-way inflator. So we keep saying 1. On the outstroke, it's inflating,
yes,
but also on that in-stroke, that second stroke, it's also inflating as well. So that's really important. Sometimes people follow these instructions and then use maybe a different hand pump. We're not saying that one isn't a good hand pump. We're just saying it doesn't work for the theory that we're
also holding the hand pump as well. Keeping your hand away. This is an air intake here. This is an air intake here. So keeping your hand away from here or your finger away from there, and also not having it against your body. So if you have it here or something and you do it, it's trying to suck you.
It's such a silly little thing. When we first start with balloons, hand inflators, and you're trying to, you're all it's all awkward and very clumsy. So you're kind of using your body to help hold it, and that's okay. But as soon as you start inflating, make sure you move it away from you. Otherwise, you're going to block that intake, as Keith said. And it makes it hard to inflate. 2, it restricts the airflow to the point that you're going to amend and change the size of that balloon. If you're just inflating it and don't care about the size, as in you're not counting the strokes, none of this matters. You can just do it behind your back, do what you want.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
If you put it through any kind of size and equipment afterwards.
Keith had also mentioned as well, you can hold it at the bottom.
Yes.
The reason
down
for
here
that,
base, because it's all about the base.
It is all about the base, is when we put this balloon on, it doesn't move, which is fantastic. Sounds like it's such a silly thing again, but if that was at the top, we need that full stroke to give us the correct amount of inflation. Now, if I put this balloon on now, it's going to start moving on me before it's even putting any air in to this balloon. So we've lost,
you don't have the consistency, right?
You don't.
So
it's
if you just
different.
start down here at the base before,
can't go wrong.
Exactly, you can't.
And that's
go wrong.
it. So it means we can do our size. So I'm going to do 2 strokes. Go and go 1, 2. I'm going to take that balloon straight off.
Yes,
that's important.
It's really important. The reason being is inside of here there's a 2-way valve because it can move for inflating on both sides of the stroke, and it's a really nice valve and it's got a good seal. However, it's not perfect. So the longer you leave the balloon on here, if I do 2 strokes and leave it on, the air from the balloon is actually going to go back down past the valve and it'll go down slowly. So if I show you on here, 1, 2, and I put that on there, and you see it's going down and down
and that's
down.
Not where Keith's holding it. He's got a tight seal there. It's going back through the valve on the pump. And there's nothing wrong with the pump. That's what it's designed to do. It's just it is going to leak because of the pressure in that balloon pushing the air against that valve. You will lose it. So the consistent approach is to do your inflation and then take that balloon straight off. Don't hang around, and it'll be absolutely fine.
So those, again, that have been on courses with us or followed along with Q Corner for a while now, know that we do stroke counts. 1 stroke equals approximately 3 inches. And then every time we do a stroke, it's roughly ½ inch. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to put it to the test, because we know that when we get to the higher end of the sizes, it's not quite true when we talk about the 5 inch.
It used to be, it worked out fantastic with the purple pump. I think that's another reason we did like it.
Yeah.
However, the bigger chamber on this particular pump is beneficial. It's a better pump.
So you hold that. I'm going to get a sizing box.
But the sizes did work out very nicely in the past.
Yes. So with this is the very best sizer box, which is one of the main things that we use for sizing balloons. It's an absolutely amazing.
We use this with everything. So it doesn't matter what piece of equipment we have, whether it's the hand pump, the digital inflators, the other electric inflators. This is a fantastic set calibration tool.
Yep.
So when we first get a piece of equipment, it could be the hand pump, could be a digital inflator, and when we talk about when you first get the machine, you get used to using it, this is what we're referencing against.
It's
This is
also it also has a handy sizing guide, conversion guide from inches to centimeters, depending whether you work on the imperial or the metric system.
yeah. Now there are quite a few different versions of sizing boxes.
Yes, we had to go
around
with the American one back in the day,
which we
back in
love.
2012.
No, we don't. We like the name.
It was we like the name. It was the Holy Bully, but it was a fabric kind of a pop-up.
Yeah, I think we were used to the rigid one, so it didn't work very well for us. But some people absolutely love it, and it's really finding the right one that works for you. But our rigid template is a really good way to go. So this one is
a Brazilian kind of one, which falls into like a triangle one, which is nice as well. But it's for the bigger balloons, it's a little bit more awkward because you can't get in there with the bigger balloons.
Yeah.
So,
but this one for us, I mean, we even have a flat version of this one. This one comes in the kit. It's got the 6 panels to make the cube. But we've actually got on our bench, I don't know if we showed this one in the past, we may have done. If not, I'm sure we'll do it in the future. But we have a pull-out drawer. It's a flat drawer, so it's just a square frame that pulls out, and on the corner of the frames is some good old Velcro.
Or hook and eye, loop and eye.
So we've taken these 6 panels, and on each of the panels we've got the appropriate pieces of Velcro, so we can change those panels out.
So, but normally it sits on there with the 11-inch template. But if we need to go for 16-inch size into 14-inch or something, we can put that size on. At 9-inch, it doesn't matter. Whichever template we're working with, we can put that onto there.
But 99% of the time, I think it's got that 11-inch one, and we just use that just to spot check and calibrate our helium 11-inch inflation.
But before we lose all of the time in the world, would you believe it? What we're going to do is we're going to do some spot checks of the hand pump sizing. So what we're going to do is we're going to update our information.
Let's do this.
This
is how we work to check any piece of equipment. It's a bit of trial and error sometimes, but what we're trying to do is, let's say we're doing a design.
Yes.
We're not trying to make a set size, let's say 4.5 inches or 5 inches. We're trying to make something that's an appropriate stroke count. So we can now say, well, this design is a 1-stroke, that's a 2-stroke, that's a 4-stroke, and so on.
And roughly, like 1-stroke is going to get us what size? Or
so
2
it's
strokes
got some
going to get
relation
us
to
what
that.
size. So it means as well as that, if we're doing many of them and we want to work digitally, we know what sort of size each one of those are, so we can use the digital sizer instead. So here we go.
Any small balloon, so this would be an underinflated 5-inch. So we think
1-stroke should be 3 inches.
That's right. So because I know it's going to be small, I'm going to pull that balloon down quite far. The top of the pump bit is still at the bottom of the round part of the balloon, so we just get a nice round inflation. Okay, so single stroke, and so you can see I've got good colour consistency across the top,
like shine down. There's no dullness on the top of the balloon, and that's because you pulled it down
and
first.
a good shape to it as well. So we think that should be about 3 inches.
So if you can see that,
so we're just under 3 inches. So that to me, for this, is a 3-inch balloon.
Yes, so we put that to one side because we don't use the same balloon twice until it's been heated and reshaped to the original size.
And when we're talking calibration, but you're going to run through, half a dozen balloons to do this. You want to use a fresh balloon that's got the same tension, because if you keep using the same one, it's going to drift a little bit. And when we're doing this sort of exercise, that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, you want to get it. You want to get it as accurate as you possibly can.
So this is going to be 2 strokes.
2 strokes, which we said is 3.5, because the first stroke gets you 3 inches. And then every stroke after that gets you roughly half inches. So that should be...
So it's still maintained a nice round balloon.
3.5
We can
inches.
talk about rounding a little bit here as well, which we'll do after this. But it's important to, whichever approach you do it the same across that sort of size. So I didn't round the first one. It just came out nice and round. So I'll do the same for this one. I'm just going to do a little twist in there so I don't lose any air whilst I'm holding this. So we think 3.5.
3.5. And it's a tight 3.5.
It is, yeah. That's good.
Pretty
That's
much
great. Yeah, so I'll be happy with that.
So that was 2 strokes, gives us 3.5. So I need to find the 4-inch template. And
This is the hardest part.
Here we go.
It's a 6-sided, but sometimes it feels like it's 9-sided.
Yeah.
It's like the USB. It's got 3 positions.
Yeah. Yes, we always say with these sizes, the size that you want is always on the last side that you check. So if you check the last side first, it's a bit faster, more efficient. Top tip.
Let's see some gold. Oh no, we need that. We need that.
Are you going to do that?
We do.
That top tip deserves some golden nuggets.
Let's see them in the comments, please. I still can't see it properly because he hasn't got the screen up for me to read. Right, that was 2. 3.
Yes.
3's now.
Yeah, we're doing 3 now, so we should be on 4 inches, right?
There you
3
go.
strokes.
1, 2, 3. Take it straight off again.
And then this is our 4-inch template, and
beautiful.
Pass us through there perfectly. So again, we spot on. So 1 stroke is 3 inches, 2 strokes is 3.5 inches. 3 strokes is 4 inches, and now we need to go to 4.5. Now
I'm not going to pull this down quite so much now because I know it's getting bigger. We're getting closer to the capacity of the 5-inch balloon. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
But you can see the shape there is more of the original, the teardrop shape.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's a classic kind of balloon shape on that one. Now, if we put it through there,
you can see there.
It's just a little bit.
There's a rattle.
Yeah.
In there, you can see there's enough space.
However, our balloons before that
were
because of the sizing of them, they were undersized for the balloon that it was. They came out nice and round because of where I pulled it down. But if you applied the same logic around this one now, so we give that a nice squeeze. Squash that balloon to give it a rounder shape, you'll find that we're probably
spot on. Pretty much. That. It's now a tight 4.5 inches. So that's 4
snug fit.
So the first stroke, 3 inches. Second stroke, 3.5 inches. Third stroke, 4 inches. Fourth stroke, 4.5 inches.
So it adds that half inch on each time.
Let's see if we can do the 5 strokes. So with the full 5 inch. So this is when we talk about round balloons as well.
I had to stop talking there because I was
counting. So this needs to be rounded too.
So yeah, we'll round that one off.
And then we've got our one here, which is our 5-inch size.
Oh, look at that.
And that fits perfect.
So you don't need your help.
So there we go. So that's sizing with a hand pump on 5-inch balloons, which is what we would generally use it for. Right?
What's good about that is we could absolutely use the sizing box. We could inflate.
Yes. Oh, you want the sizing box back. And then
we could size. So I could, let's say I want to do 3 inches. So a little more air in than needed. I can use the sizing box and then a little bit of air out until it goes through smoothly. And I can perfectly size all the balloons continuously. But what we're doing there is doing 2 steps. Inflation, then sizing. What we suggest here is I can do 1 stroke. And now I have a 3-inch balloon.
And the thing is that if you repeat the same process, you get the same results. So again, we do that and we get 2 balloons that are practically identical on the size. And so it means that we can continue to do that if we need lots and lots and lots of the same size.
When you're doing duplets, this is the kind of the next thing to learn with this particular piece of equipment is I've inflated that once. I put a little twist in just to make it easier so you can relax that pressure. Because sometimes people say, "Oh, my hand aches holding it," because you're holding it so tight, it's going to hurt your own hand.
In fact, there's a good demonstration on that. Is if we inflate this, if I'm trying to hold all the air in without a twist, I have to flatten that out and put lots of pressure on.
Yeah.
However, if we do the twist on there, and then just with a little bit of, I'm barely holding it. Yeah, it's actually the twist that's keeping the air in.
Exactly. The action of the finger and thumb is just to stop it unraveling, but the ravel is what's holding the air
the twist. I mean, in fact, if I now the twist, if I just push that against there, that's enough to hold it. So that twist that's how important that twist is.
So I can really relax now. I don't have to hold this tight. My finger and thumb's just holding that twist in on there. So now, with this hand that's holding that balloon, I can use my fingers and the palm to hold that hand pump. So it's really easy. And the way the balloon is away from that pump means it could be 3 inches or 5 inches, 11 inches. It doesn't matter. I can still hold onto this pump. I can make sure it's reset, take my second balloon on, single stroke, put that down. I don't need to twist this one because I'm going to tie them straight away. Then I can pull them across, wrap it around and tie. And that's how we would easily do it.
And Dom holds them that way. I hold it very slightly different. And it's just to show you, it's entirely up to you what works best for you.
Exactly.
So if I do this and I put the twist into there, I hold it in my little finger there, and then it means that I can hold the hand pump.
I just find that really comfortable, relaxing position to hold it, so you're not having to hold it super tight. You must remember though that our desk is on a slant this way, and you need to put it that way.
I know. If we put this way, it's not going to do it. No.
The other thing as well, when you're checking the size,
the optical illusion.
Yeah.
Ready? Happy New Year.
We automatically ourselves we look at the balloons this way. And the reason for that is because you can compare them and they look the same. However, when we hold them this way,
the top balloon, I don't know if it
I
works
don't know if
down
it
the
comes
camera,
across. I don't know.
but
Yeah.
the top balloon looks smaller than the bottom balloon.
Because for me, at this position here, normal arm's lengths, where I'll be looking going, oh wow, this one's bigger than this one.
Yeah.
If I move it over,
Actually,
wow, this one
yeah.
is bigger than this one. And then you can go on for days.
Yes, so always compare them side by side and not.
So that's a test for you to do at home.
Yes.
Inflate the two balloons, check them this way, check them this way.
And you go, oh yeah, you're right. You know what? They're right. Yes.
Magic.
We are right.
Yes.
Okay, so that is size with the hand pump, and in fact, you can go all the way up on here.
I was about to say, yes, this is not limited to 5 inch, even though we've got it here. This method works for all sizes of balloons, and it's fantastic for the old underarms. Now, we used to have a cheat sheet that we kept in the van, and this was before we had the microwave, to be fair. When we've took a lot of air-filled decor, columns with 11-inch balloons, there's, accidents happen. It's normally that doorway that gets us, and you burst an 11-inch balloon. It's sized to 9 inches, let's say. Do you need to get your electric air inflator out in the size box?
Yeah, especially if you're doing an installation as well, and you might not have done, in certain countries you have to do the risk assessments on the installations, and if you haven't said that you're going to take electrical equipment in or anything, you might have that issue.
Yeah.
Whereas with this, if we know that it takes 34 strokes or whatever,
so
to get
our
to the
chart,
size,
it starts off 1 stroke, 2 stroke, 3 strokes, then it gets down to 11-inch balloons at 9 strokes, at
74
47.
strokes.
You're thinking, why would you ever start inflating balloons with a hand pump with 47 strokes? It's for the one-off. It's that I can go and get that one balloon. I've got the pump. I can inflate it, count to 47, and it's done. It's the right size and in the design, perfect.
Yeah,
that's why we had it. But we found we used it so little, and the microwave was so accessible for us, and majority of installations we did, we were okay to use it. We've kind of come away from that.
And even there as well as that, having the it's down on your side, the Smart Twist, which is a battery operated. Yes, it's slower to do the bigger balloons, but you can do them. And if you do,
don't underestimate the hand pump.
Never underestimate the power of the hand pump.
That
should be a tagline. Never underestimate the power of the hand inflator.
I've thrown it over there that we can't use anymore.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Size. So we'll have this. Our friend the Micro Air. Yeah, this is the premium accessories microwave from last week. So
this can represent any electric air inflator.
Yes.
Absolutely. And what we mean by that is anything that's non-digital, anything that will work as long as you operate it. We've talked about it. We'll say it again very briefly. We love the premium equipment. We love their lineup. Works really well for us. But this is just a single inflator that runs when we push down the button or push down the valve on the top.
Yes. So generally we would use this with the sizing box.
Yes.
So, for instance, if we wanted an 8-inch balloon, we would find the size that says, where is it? Here. Yep. 8 inches on here. And then inflate, generally oversize. And then downsize into the 8-inch. There we go.
When you're doing a lot of work with sizing this way, although this is a template, you can get fluctuations of sizes between different people. So you might find that some people inflate it initially bigger than a lot of other people, and that's going to change the shape, the shape of the balloon. You can find that some people, they'll we're pretty good working together, and it's not to say that our way is the right way, but we're just very consistent between everyone in the business, and we would deflate it and it will softly go through it.
Some people prefer to push through there. Also, some people inflate it just enough so that it goes through on the first one. Now, if you look at those two shapes on there, it's two very different shaped balloons. So what you need is that consistency between it. Because if I try to round mine off now to the same as Dom's,
so yours size currently to 8 inches.
And so then I round it now so that it gets the same shape as Dom's. Yeah, so it's nice and round. When I put it back onto here, it's now bigger than the template because
it's 8 1/4 inch balloon there, almost 8 1/2.
Yeah, and I could force it through, but it'd be
the big difference in the two inflations there was I inflated mine much bigger and then softened it off by deflating it to go through the template, and it gave me that round, softer balloon shape, which is fantastic for longevity. However, it takes a bit more time to do.
Yes.
The Keith method on that example
It's
there,
pretty much just to inflate the size.
just the right size almost, and then a slight deflation to get through, but it gave you a little bit of a tighter balloon, which, you know what, for most of our work, we're really happy with. But what we're trying to emphasize is you still can get differences.
Yes, absolutely. You need the consistency. It's why generally when we're working on a piece of garland, we'll have one person who's actually packing the fours on. We'll have one person passing inflation and one person packing and actually tying.
It's breaking down that process,
the consistency of the pressure putting in there to keep that consistent pressure all the way through.
Yeah, and if you do have a team, it is possible to kind of bring everybody into the same kind of consistency.
Yeah.
But that's not, a template isn't going to fix that. A machine isn't going to fix that. That's just you guys working together.
It's techniques and learning.
Yeah, watching each other, seeing how you do it. But the biggest thing that we can say as a tip is, look how you're putting it through the template. If you're pushing it through, force is a hard one to gauge. It's a hard one to measure. Mm-hmm. So we suggest as a team, try to make sure that it's inflated to size and it goes through smoothly. And your overinflation or just the right size, make that decision if you want soft balloons or if you want something that's just a bit faster and just put it through.
Depending on what you're trying to achieve, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, we like to use softer balloons, especially when we're working outside, installation that's going to last for a long time. Those softer balloons,
or even
really
internal where there's heavy air conditioning involved, and we do the same for that as well. But you know, great machines, and the machine isn't at fault and the template's not at fault. It's just that something to be aware of, that there is some differences between operators.
Yeah, so this particular piece of equipment, the very best sizing box, goes down to there. That one on the bottom there is 1.5 inches. Is that right?
Yes.
1.5 inches, and it goes all the way up to 14 inches on here. This big one on here. People get mistaken that it's actually a 16-inch. It's not. It says clearly it's 14 inches, but the outside of the box is 16 inches. So that's our general go-to. Yeah. But it wasn't always our go-to.
No, it wasn't.
When we first started, we actually started with a very different piece of equipment. And now it comes in a nice tin.
It does.
Yes, it's the sliding size.
Christmas tin, yes. So we still have these, and they do, for us, still have a place.
Yeah, it's generally for the larger balloons, and because that one can only size up to maximum 14 inches, 16 inches at a kind of a push because of the outside of the box. But this one allows us to, it can size multiple balloons at the same time, and it can certainly size larger balloons.
And it's also very good for organic work as well.
Yes.
So this one has a ruler in the tin. So it's a fold-out ruler, so it's quite a good size, but it packs away nicely.
What's the full length on this one?
The full length is, see that way, 0 to, we've got 36 inches.
So a 3-foot balloon.
92 centimetres.
Yeah.
So it's almost, you know, a metre wide, that. So we have our ruler, and we have the feet section for this. So they slide onto it. And we've got a position for having 3 in total, I think, onto this. We generally use it for one size, but if you do an organic work, you can actually do twin sizes at the same time with this, although typically we're doing kind of just one size.
If you're working small as well, can you just slide that out? If you're working small, you don't have to unfold it. Also, this is designed so that you can go through there and then that will slide back into base and it will be working fine. But if you are working for the larger balloons, we can go...
So you have a hole in the ruler. So
it's threaded. Yeah.
So they line up, and then you put your first post into the end there, and it'll then wind through into the foot. So that one's in there.
Yep.
And then we have a second one.
Slide as well down here to the middle.
And these are all adjustable. So these ones can go anywhere you want. What did I do that?
You did it wrong.
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
Because I wasn't paying attention.
Now we're going to put the other foot on there as well. And then, good.
Winding that down. Don't go too far with it. You just want to get it so it just starts to touch the other ruler, then that'll stop it moving, and that's where we're going to set the size on this one. So this end one is fixed. There's a hole for that one, so that one doesn't move. That's our reference point. And then this is the one that we can set. So let's do that 8 inches again.
8 inches,
so
yeah.
I'm going to undo that just a little bit.
So
You'll
now,
slide it along.
because when you screw it down, it actually fixes it in place, right?
Yeah, let's hold this up a little bit. I'm just
so when this screws down, it fixes it in place. Well, you just take that off and allows it to slide.
Now you guys can't see this, I'm sure, but there is a mark in here that says 8 inches.
Turn over, see if you can see. You might.
But it's here. So what we're going to do is slide this along, and what you're actually looking for is the edge of this foot. Okay. I think the common mistake we've seen on this one is people look at that size, and they're trying to line this rod up with that marking. Like
they don't have to, and the reason being is that the outside of this is already set up on the 0, and it's already partially in the hole is set up in the, what is it, on the half-inch mark or something?
Just
roughly.
off, yeah, just
roughly
off
half-inch.
Yeah.
So it means that it's already offset that way. So if you set the inside to the size you want, because this is offset, this is also offset.
Yeah, so it's going to give you the proper size. And again, like any piece of equipment though, like the hand pump, it's not exactly 4.5 inches. It's not exactly 5 inches. It doesn't matter. It's just consistent. So this is the easiest way, regardless, of making sure that it's consistent, because you're lining that edge up, and then you can move it to 8 inches, 9 inches.
So if I set this to 16 on here and put the next pin in, it means that because this one's set to 8, this one's set to 16, which the difference is 8, if I've got my maths right. It means that what I can do is I can size 2 balloons to 8 inches at exactly the same time.
Which is great. You do also get some extension poles as well. So this is if you're doing some bigger balloons, and the idea being is if it was, let's say for instance, a 3-foot balloon, and you had this all the way out over here, when you put that 3-foot balloon through it, these are going to be too short. So these are higher, so it will capture
the larger balloons.
So normal working, we don't bother with those, although some people do because they like it.
It's going to be loud. 1 second, loud.
So the reason some people like them on still is because it works as a little bit of a roller.
So that goes on the outside like this. We let it down to size. I'm letting air out until it gently rolls through, and then I do the same thing on the other side.
But this is where we wouldn't use them, because there'd be a slight difference between this one having a roller on both sides and this one not. So that's why generally we don't use it.
On, and then you can size them both at the same time to pass through and tie them into a duplet.
Now this is where it works great for organics.
Organics is perfect.
Because now you can actually have, well, I'll have one bigger, one smaller, but I can do very minor incremental size changes.
You need to take that up a bit because they can't see that. But yeah, we can do it in like this.
You're not
so
fixed
we have
to anything.
Yeah, so we have this size for organics. Excuse me. When you're doing clusters of 2 different sizes, we can do a larger one and a smaller one, or a smaller one. Maybe we're doing using 16-inch on the other side. So we're going to slide this all the way down to here or something and have it. So we've got a larger balloon on this side.
So you just do batches of different sizes and then just keep adjusting, you know, and you get
so whatever you want.
It's brilliant. As far as the absolute scope for any size that you want, this is by far the simplest, best piece of equipment.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a 3-foot balloon as well, because people have this issue of size and 3-foot balloons, I'm just going to take the middle peg out and I'm going to size this. Normally we'll do our 3-foot balloons to 28 inches. Which is 71 centimeters on here. So I've just fastened that in there. We put our extension pieces on. We have our 3-foot balloon and we can draw it back so we can get them all the same size.
Now on site, we've talked about this before, but you can make a very simple manual version of this by using the back of 2 chairs.
Generally for larger balloons. We're not going to do it on the smaller ones, but we do this quite often for larger for larger balloons.
So in our tool bag we have,
everybody has one of these in
handy
there.
tape measure, just because
I know people do the apps and everything else on the.
And they're great. You know, the apps are great for stuff, but you know, when you're doing something quite practical or like this, and you only need to do 2 chairs between each other, the app is not as accurate as you need it to be. For general quotes around the building, for big, broad, rough sizes, love it. But for this sort of work,
Nothing beats a tape measure.
Just works, but we just measure between the 2 points. So you can see there, that's a 71 centimeters. That gap, it's like sliding size was designed perfectly.
Yeah.
Thanks, click.
But we would do this with 2 chairs. So if for instance, if this was a back of a chair, so the chair comes up into our seat, and then this is the back of the chair, and then we have another one on the other side, but this is the back of the chair. And what we would do is we would measure on the top our 28 inches or whatever size you wanted to, and that would become our sizing box. Just
Now,
make sure you put something heavy on the chair so that nobody moves them by mistake.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, somebody will see the chair and they'll, I'll just sit down, and they'll move it slightly.
This is why we recommend the tape measure. So now we have early days just guesstimated the distance between 2 chairs. Nothing wrong with that, because with a little bit of practice, you can inflate it to the size that you want.
1 second, I need to put this down. I'm getting hidden behind that blue ball.
And every balloon after that will be the same size. Brilliant. The downside is if someone moves your chair, you're going to have to go get one of your balloons back and then resize it again.
Yes.
So
if you have a tape measure, you know it's 27 inches, 26 inches, 25 inches, 70 centimeters, whatever size you want it to be.
Because colour changes things. You you guesstimate the balloon size, and if you're helium filling that, for instance, that's going to be the difference between profit and not much profit if you've got that size wrong. So that's why having this in the back is a must.
If you think about that, have a look at the back of the Qualitex catalogue and see the difference between inflating a 3-foot balloon from 30 inches to 36 inches, and just see how much extra it takes you to inflate that.
And the thing is, you can use a piece of equipment like this to do an air fill, then helium fill, or vice versa. So it's a great bit of kit. Our everyday go-to is the sizing box, the very best sizing box.
Very best sizing box.
But it doesn't mean we don't.
And the hand in.
Yeah, and again, I like the inflation equipment. It's not we're saying this is the one to get. We use a selection of equipment depending on what task that we do. We use this. I don't know, maybe 10-15% of the time out of the sizes that we use. Yeah. Would that be a rough sort of idea?
If that, to be fair, it's one of these things that it's a really, but we wouldn't be without it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because when it's useful, it's incredibly useful.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things, because for us, we don't do a massive amount of organics. If we did a lot more organics, this would be out a lot more for that. Because when we do organics, it is more on a recipe. It's formula driven.
But I think for its cost, it warrants its place in our industry tools.
Yeah, so, there's no doubt. If there was something went wrong with this, which I mean, the thing is that it's pretty much bomb-proof, because that is a solid metal ruler, and these are heavyweight plastic. It screws into there. These are solid rods. So you have to lose.
The only thing at fault is potentially these, because they're good missing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that you have to lose it, which is why it's amazing the fact that
we class that as a user input error.
Yeah, it comes with that tin. Where's that tin again?
Down here.
Yeah, because it used to come in a clear plastic tube with bungs on the end.
Yeah, much better.
It's much better with the tin, because it's got more size availability for it, and it fits in there. Nice.
Yeah, so we love that one. Great piece of kit. Would not be without it.
Okay, the last thing that we're going to talk about is digital sizing equipment.
Yes.
I've got a little tickle on the back of my throat, and I'm going to have to grab some water once we get finished with that. You're going to talk about this one.
Both. We have
two digital pieces of sizing equipment.
Both work very much the same, other than the fact that this has got one outlet, where this guy has 2 outlets.
Also, this one is really designed for larger balloons, although it can do the smaller ones. It's very, very powerful, so it can do the smaller ones, no problem. This one is mains powered.
This one is mains or battery, and specifically designed for the smaller balloons. We would say 5-inch max.
Yeah, really, 160 is great, 260 is great.
Yeah.
5-inch. You've got to be careful on relying on the digital sizing for your non-round balloons, like especially the 160s, 260s, 350s.
Yeah.
Because
the type of balloon that they are, and depending on how you hold it,
you get a lot of fluctuation between the sizes.
And again, that's down to the colour of the balloon and how you're holding it.
And the temperature that you're working in.
So it's very good for a broad sizing. Just to go back to the sliding size a little bit, that's great if you're doing a lot of 260Q or 350Q work as well. Because it's got that length on it, you can measure your...
In fact, we've seen a lot of people that make balloon dresses that use the sliding size for the handy thing of going, right, okay, for this level on the dress, I need to make 3/4 inch bubbles. You can get it exactly. You know, if you say, right, okay, I want it to be 37 millimeters. These bubbles have to be 37 millimeters. You can set that perfectly. And we've seen a lot of balloon dress designers.
Very precision work done using a piece of equipment like that. Or even just the initial inflation. So a lot of the time when you're doing, like, we'll do a centerpiece and we've got a 260Q, small amount of air and lots of bubbles to make like the pearls go around. If you overinflate that, you don't have enough room. Underinflate it, you don't have enough in it. So if we're doing a lot of those, we might set the sliding size up to give us that, right, okay, we've done our test. We know we need to inflate these balloons to about.
And the great thing as well is that with the sliding size, because it has multiples, you can say, right, it doesn't have to be exactly this size, but it needs to be between this size and this size. Yeah. And you set up your pegs.
It doesn't matter what the measurement is because you've got all that scope.
Yeah, it's between this size and this size.
Great piece of kit.
Okay, so this is the premium balloon accessories twin air sizer. It's the size of 1, not the size of 2, which is far better. It has it's slightly smaller, lighter,
faster,
stronger.
All the good stuff. Let's get a Sharpie. Let's upgrade it.
So
we still love it. We still love our machine.
You pretend to be a foot, okay? You pretend to be a foot. So we've got this size to 8, 0.8 on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inflate. On here, actually, I'm going to take it a little bit higher and put it at 2.8.
Oh.
Yeah, that should give us, I think...
No budget spared this week, all that extra
8 inches. 8 inches. Well, the government haven't figured out a way of taxing that yet. So, what we're going to do is, we're going to inflate 2 orange balloons to, I think 2.8 on here is about 8 inches.
Here we go.
And it stops. I can take them off. I'm going to get my sizing box.
Just wait a second, so you can do that.
Yeah, I'm going to find 8 inches. That's 7.5. 8 inches. Okay, so there we go. It's a snug. What we class as a snug 8 inches. So it's exactly as we said. And
now this is inflated, then sized, checked straight away.
Yes.
That's what he's referencing again. So when you're calibrating and that's what you're doing, make sure you follow the same system.
Yes.
Some people like to round them, and that's fine. We like to round the balloons sometimes as well.
If you round them balloons,
depending on what sort of design we're doing,
and then we go back to that 8 inches, it's nowhere near. Right?
It's so much bigger. And that's not to say that that's wrong, but however you calibrate, however you check, you must do it consistently. It's
about 8 and a third.
But you can see how that little process of rounding significantly changes the size of that balloon. And again, we're not saying don't do that. We're just saying remember at which point you do that. Yes. So if you're calibrating after rounding, make sure you do that all the time. You might want to adjust the size on the machine. In fact, if that was to say 2.7 or 2.6,
it'll just go through.
Then round it. It might go through perfectly. So you can play around with this to your heart's content.
And you can make yourself a sizing guide. It takes nothing to mock up some sort of spreadsheet, either on Google Sheets or on Excel, depends on what you use, and go, right, if I do 2.8, that gives me, standardly out of the box, it gives me a snug 8 inches. But then rounded, it gives me 8 and a third, for instance. You can do it yourself. If you have a sliding size, you can actually measure it exactly. And find out exactly what size that balloon is. And then you can go through the whole sheet, and then you end up with a massive spreadsheet.
And the hand pump, it's the same process. It's exactly the same, step by step.
But if you know what's possible from your machine, you're going to get the most. You're going to maximize the return on the investment that you've made in the machine. Because you know that if I do it to this and do it this, what happens if I do the same thing and I put a 5-inch nozzle on one side, but use that to take 2 balloons and I go, I'm going to put an 11-inch on this side using the 5-inch nozzle, and I'm going to do an 11-inch on the other side.
They do change the size of the balloon.
Let's find out. Let's have a look. There we go. We can see there that the one with there is downsized slightly. So depending on what we're trying to achieve, what
Yeah,
what it
because
does.
we did have a situation where we had one of our guys using this machine and they were going between 5-inch and 11-inch balloons. They changed the size setting for the 5-inch and had the nozzles on. Nozzles being making it easier to put the 5-inch balloons on. They understood that. Great, happy, really happy, perfect. Then went on to 11-inch balloons, set the setting as it should be for that design.
Yeah.
Then put the 11-inch balloons on. However, it wasn't the same size as another design that was done with a colleague. And that's because they'd left the nozzles on, because they change the way that the balloons are fit as well. So you can use that to your advantage as well.
Yes, absolutely. You know, you size it down again, leave on your 11-inch on one side, put a 260 on, which really restricts the airflow, and you get a completely different size again.
Great for having the really small balloons off this machine. In fact, sometimes having a slightly higher setting, like a 0.2, with that is better than a 0.1 with that. It just depends on the balloon that you've got, the colour you're trying to do, and the size you're trying to get.
But the thing is that if you have a piece of equipment like this, experiment, try it, but record the results. That's important.
That's the key.
Yeah, because otherwise you forget and it's gone. Record the results and what your machine does on your power supply, because depending on where in the world, depends on what kind of power supply you get, the machine can react very differently in those conditions. And this goes for either the premium twin air sizer or the common precision air, any of the sizing equipment like that, which is mains powered. The power supply does affect the results.
I'm not saying, you know, from this bit I say to next door is going to change it. It's more like the region of your country. Your national power supply is the big thing that changes everything.
Yeah, generally when we travel around the world and we teach, although we know what sizes roughly they are to start off with, you know, like 2.8 gives me roughly 8 inches, 3.8 gives me roughly 9 inches, 1.7 7 inches.
What we do is go-to ones to go with.
Yeah, when we go there, we'll have a little notepad and we'll do a quick test using some sort of sizing equipment, whether it's sliding box, and just do the quick test and then write it down. Once we've got it written down, we know. Dial that in, press the button, you get the same result every time.
And that's where these machines really, really kind of earn their money for us, and that's what's so good about it. But don't be afraid to have a bit of a play. I think we can't stress that enough.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes a little bit of time, but then you really get to know your machine, and then you can get more out of it, and that's what's really important. Also, 20-minute show, that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to say bye-bye.
One sec, we need to put these guys on
there. So just saying a huge thank you to all of our newest and latest members. Thank you for your support.
We got Rockstar members.
Whether you're a crew member, whether you're a Rockstar, we appreciate you. And if you're just watching anyway, remember, we appreciate you guys too.
If you're a subscriber.
Yes.
If you're not,
why not? Why not?
Hit the subscribe.
Subscribe is the least you can do. It's free.
Oh, I've got a button. I haven't got a button. You've got the button.
I don't have my buttons connected up.
I'll tell you what, we'll have some of them as well.
Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you very much to all of these guys down below here. Thank you very much for everybody that's watching. We're going to say bye-bye for now, but we would really like you to leave a comment and say what was your favourite...
And more robots, please.
What's your favourite piece of equipment? What do you go to when you size with?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to say bye-bye from me.
Bye-bye from me.
You guys stay nice and safe and take care.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.